Hey humans, it's been a while since I made a video, and it's just so much happening in the world, in the United States, in Los Angeles. Um, and a lot of us are feeling overwhelmed, distracted, defeated, angry, hopeless, fill in the blank. And the whole purpose, the whole reason I showed up here on YouTube is to shine light. I have a little sticker here. It says light lover. That's what I am. I'm a light lover. And I have come to believe that being a light lover or an optimist is not foolish. It's the only smart thing to do, especially now. Especially now when there is and seems to be so much evidence of the darkness. And you don't really need to be a scientist to know that when you turn the light on, it doesn't kill the darkness, that there's the light fills the room and the darkness disappears. So the best way to defeat darkness, I don't really like the word defeat, but the best way to deal with darkness is to just turn the light on. Instead of analyzing the darkness and focusing on the darkness and being afraid of the darkness and blaming each other for who made the darkness. And so I think the most useful thing that I can do is to go even deeper and deeper into my spiritual practice so that when I show up in the world and when I happen to catch the headlines, I'm not thrown off like I was, to be honest, in 2016 when I couldn't stop eating. So I made a vow, I'm not going to let that happen this time. And I think that a lot of us, from what I'm reading in the zeitgeist and in the air, a lot of us are feeling the same. That this season, political season in the United States is different than in 2016. It's more somber, feels more serious, more real, like a very severe wake-up call. So with that in mind, I wanted to tell you about my new favorite book. Now, if you've watched any of these videos, you know that I'm a huge fan of, or serious student of, A Course in Miracles. And if this is your first time happen to catch one of my videos, I love Jesus, but have struggles with Christianity, fundamental religion, patriarchy, all of those kind of things. So when I say the word Jesus or Jesus Christ or Christ consciousness, it doesn't insinuate Christianity. It insinuates love and wisdom and truth. And with that said, I understand that a lot of people have a very hard time opening their mind. I was one of those people. I went to Fort Wayne Bible College in 1978, and I was completely indoctrinated, although I was raised by a single mom who taught me to think for myself, thank God. But with that said, that indoctrination is so subtle, right? It's like fish swimming in the ocean. They don't know they're wet, but they're wet, right? So that's what indoctrination is like. So as far as who Jesus is, who God is, if there is a God, all of those mystical, metaphysical, cosmological things, obviously it's up for each and every human being to decide what they believe, why they believe, what they don't believe. So for me, my evolution has been, I started out going to church. Then I went to a fundamental Bible college. Well, I was a Jesus freak hippie before that, was a pothead. I should put it in the order. I was kind of a scrappy project kid, pothead. I kept going to the Pentecostal church because the bus took us there and it was fun. And I would always get saved, what was called getting saved, where you walk down the aisle just as I am without one plea, but that thy blood was shed for me. So I did that like lots of times. You can never get saved enough. You want to hedge your bets, right? Hell is a scary place. And so I would always try to read the Bible, but what 8-year-old can read the Bible? It was pretty hard to read. And I will say, the Course in Miracles is very dense, even harder to read than the Bible, which leads me to my new favorite book, which I believe, and you can definitely go online and research it and read all about it. I'm not here to convince you of anything. I just want to share. This is a follow-up to A Course in Miracles, and I always get really excited about the thing I'm into at the moment. But in this moment, I can honestly say that no book has ever made, well, that's not true. A lot of books made me happy, but I'm more excited about this book and more appreciative than this book is incredible. It's called A Course of Love, and it was channeled by Jesus to this woman, Mary Perron. I know people probably think that's bullshit, but that's okay. You can think that. But because I've been studying A Course in Miracles for 30 years, and because I studied the Bible for 30 years before that, I have a really firm foundation. And plus, I have my own intuitive connection to what I think the truth is and the voice of God is, divine intelligence, whatever you want to call it. Don't get hung up on words. The word God has a lot of garbage heaped on it, and I understand if that word isn't comfortable for you. But anyway, if you're curious, if you're feeling terrible, and if you are looking for a book that has encouraging, practical, and I know a lot of my feminist friends had a problem with the patriarchal language of A Course in Miracles. God's Son, God the Father. It's very Christian. And in A Course of Love, it's still Jesus channeling it, but he brings in the feminine pronouns. And it's really nice. And it actually feels, what's the word, more gentle, more practical. And it's just fantastic. And let me see if I can find just one line from it that, so much of it I love. Let's see. Here we go. I'll read you this. The Christ in you is that which is capable of learning in human form what it means to be a child of God. The Christ in you is that which is capable of bringing the two worlds, the world of form, like the human world and your divine nature. The Christ in you is that which is capable of bringing bridging the two worlds. This is what is meant by the second coming of Christ. Now, those of you who didn't go to a fundamental Bible college might not appreciate how fucking amazing that is to first of all, believe Jesus channeled this book. And second of all, to get that definition of the second coming of Christ, because at Fort Wayne Bible College, it was all about the rapture. The argument wasn't what's the deep, profound metaphysical meaning of the second coming of Christ. The argument was, is he going to come back pre-tribulation, mid-tribulation, or post-tribulation? That's what people were sitting around arguing at a Bible college, where these people were being prepared to be ministers and pastors and missionaries, leaders of the Christian church. And Fort Wayne Bible College was considered the Harvard of Bible colleges. And that's what they were arguing about. So when I read something like this, that the second coming of Christ is when the Christ, which is the awareness, the consciousness, the love, capital L, is awakened and realized and expressed between all of us grungy, flawed, imperfect humans. We're the second coming of Christ. We are it. We are it. It's not about politics or gender or race. I mean, all those things are extremely important in our world, in our country, and they're very important issues that I care deeply about. But what is under all of it, what Bob Marley, Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Jesus, John F. Kennedy, Mother Teresa, all the people who really were in the arena fighting for the soul of humanity, those people knew that what matters is that each one of us awaken to the love within our heart, to the consciousness within our minds. It's not about them. It's not about anything outside of you. It must always begin within you, within me. And when I awaken and when you awaken to that love that is within us, that peace, that divine nature that is within everyone, even though some people hide it really fucking good, really well, you would never know there's a Christ inside that guy, but there is. It's kind of like Marianne Williamson used to say, it's the good news and the bad news. Nobody walks through the pearly gates alone. And I suppose you could say nobody goes to hell alone, but you get to choose if you go to heaven and hell. And heaven and hell is not a physical, it's not like on the West Coast or next to Pluto. It's in our minds. It's a decision. I sounded like a preacher. It's in our minds. That's my Pentecostal upbringing kicking in. It's a choice that we make. I'm going to take a deep breath and end this video because obviously I am a human. I am very triggered. We worked very hard to elect Kamala Harris and raised over $20,000. And it was extremely heartbreaking and shocking and sobering to deal with what is. But we have to deal with what is, yet carry the vision of what we want to create. So I want to encourage you today to not get too discouraged, to not let this disappointment take you down, to not let this, and I'm talking to myself here, tempt us into hating each other more, and to just keep looking for the light, keep being the light, be the change, and change is hard. Take responsibility for your vibration. I know that sounds very woo-woo, but take responsibility for what you think and what you feel, because it matters. Okay. And if you're a Jesus person, or if you're just like metaphysical wisdom, check out A Course of Love. It's life-changing for real. I've only just started reading it and it's already changed my life. It's amazing. All right. I love you, fellow humans. Take good care.